there was a movie I was watching the other day, and one of the quotes of that movie, the most important quotes in my opinion, was a guy, and he's really going through a situation at that time. He's really going through his own challenges, right? And he says, nothing happens to anyone whom he is not fitted by nature to bear. And my interpretation of that quote is basically anything that happens to you in this life, regardless of how extreme the challenge is or how big the mountain is that you have to move, or maybe it could be a good thing, it can be a big celebration you're having. Nothing happens to anyone whom he has not fitted by nature to bear. What I mean by that is if you have a challenge, or if you have a mountain you're dealing with in your life, God gave you all the tools to move that mountain and to overcome that obstacle. He gave you all the tools that you needed in order to do it. So no matter how big it is, or no matter how intimidating it is, when you're really going through stuff, know that your ancestors dealt with challenges as well. Your soul deals with challenges all the time. This is how we grow. And that God gave you all the tools that you needed in order to overcome that challenge, right? It is always possible to overcome the challenge that you're dealing with. So it's something to keep in mind, right? Nothing happens to anyone whom he is not fitted by nature to bear. And here's another thing, right? If you're a guy, every guy is also born with different talents and abilities and inclinations to do certain things, right? So I'll give an example. For me, in my life, I was never that good with money. I was never that good at saving with money. I've gotten a lot better with money. I'm pretty good at saving money now. I'm pretty good with money now, and I'm going to speak it into existence. But I met a lot of guys who they just had a natural inclination and a magnetic touch with money. They had the Midas touch when it comes to money. I'm working on saving money, and I'm getting better with money over time, and I feel good with money now, but there's a lot of guys who are pretty good with money, right? I'm not going to lie, right? But I would say one of my strongest talents and abilities is making people laugh and making people feel good about themselves. So what am I going to do? Am I going to go work a banking job, or am I going to start a YouTube channel making people feel good about themselves and making people laugh? Which would be better for me to make money with my own strengths and abilities? The latter, right? Now, keep in mind, some guys, they might be born more handsome, they might be born taller, more muscle, right? And this is the way they attract women. Some guys are born naturally funny and with a strong drive to become rich and famous. So what do you do for a guy like that? Do you tell him, hey, why don't you just be richer, taller, and more handsome? Or do you tell him, why don't you just focus on making people laugh and get rich and famous, since you have a huge drive for it and it's part of your tool set? And maybe that's the way you attract women, right? You're not going to tell a guy like that, hey, you're not going to tell a tall, rich, and handsome guy that isn't funny, hey, you should be funny, hey, you should work on getting rich and famous, if he doesn't have a drive to become rich and famous. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, regardless of what you want in your life, regardless of what obstacles you have to overcome, regardless of what desires you need, God gave you all the tools that you need in order to accomplish it. Sometimes guys don't see the tools that they have because they're too busy looking at another man's life. And they're like, okay, this guy has something that I don't, and he's able to do stuff that I don't. But what if God gave you a different tool set than the God that you're looking at in order to achieve the success you always wanted to achieve? And I feel like it's every person's job in this life to discover the tool set that God had given them in order to achieve the goals and achieve the success that he wants for himself.